What's happening, people? It's your girl Mina. Welcome back to my channel. I would say happy Thursday, but there ain't really anything to be happy about after that performance yesterday. I'm already seeing some of you lot in the chat getting on to me. Listen, I take my L, man. I'm gracious with it. I'm humble with it. I am not like KG. But one thing I don't get is how you guys are getting on to me when I've beaten before. Anyways, it is what it is. Big up to everyone in the chat, of course. If you don't want to see that KG Mina game, it's coming next week. International break. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. You lot know what it is. You lot know what it is. And of course, you can now join the membership club here on MinaFootball. You can join the minionship, as I like to call it. Link is the pinned comment in the chat. 2-tier system. So whatever kind of rocks your boat, you can sign up to that. Big up to everyone, of course. Big up Pod by Palmyra. It says that Snuddy looks hella useful right now. Bare cold, bro. It is so cold. I got an electric blanket and I've got this on. That's how cold it is in the UK right now. Big up to Adam says, Mina, don't go anywhere. Listen, guys, I'm here to talk about the game. Listen, I lost 1-0 to KG on FIFA, and anyone who watched the stream will know that I just played bad. But he didn't play good either. I created chances, and a lot of the chances that fell to him, it is what it is. I'm not, bro. He's so shameless, guys. He sent me a voice note straight after. The same guy that's been ignoring my messages, he sent me a voice note straight after. But you lot already know what it is. We've agreed we will play on my channel, so that will come soon. But to be honest, guys, I really want to talk about yesterday's game, because that shit, excuse my language, absolute shambles. Absolute shambles. And I can't believe there's people trying to find out or trying to figure out positives from that. There is no positive, in my opinion, conceding 4 goals for the second time in the group stages in one campaign. Do you know how nuts that is? 4 goals. We've conceded 11 goals in 3 Champions League games. That's not acceptable. That is not acceptable at any club, let alone a big club. To concede 4 goals in 2 games out of 4 as well. That means we're conceding 4 goals 50% of the time. If by that maths we continue, that means in the Galatasaray game or in the Bayern Munich game, we will concede 4 goals, because we've done it already 50% of the time. For me, that is just one thing I can't comprehend. I can't seem to really get over. Big up the Suleiman in the chat, says absolute shit. Guys, I don't swear, so you know I'm annoyed if I'm saying the word shit. Excuse my language, and I do apologize. Big up to Koala, says big up Mina, my prediction was right. McTominay assist and Bruno scored. At least Koala got his prediction right. But let's talk about yesterday's game. And to be honest, if you don't want to come in and drop your opinions, I will stick a link in the chat for you guys to come through. But one thing I think that stood out for me yesterday, and it's really been the theme of, I think, our entire season, is just capitulation. I was watching the game at home, and I promise you, when Rashford got sent off, I said, capitulation starts now. Bam, we concede. 10 minutes later, bam, penalty. 2-2. We're going into halftime. 2-2 after being 2-0 up. We come out of halftime. I'm like, we just look like we're always going to concede. We look shaky. We look scary. You know, that kid, I can't pronounce his surname, but the guy that scored the winner, Ronnie is his name, Syrian, Swedish 17-year-old player. Better right winger than half of our right wingers. And he's 17 years old. I was doing the maths, and basically means he was like, what, born 2006? He's born in 2006. I got a niece that's born in 2006, and he's there scoring winners against Manchester United in the Champions League. I need to have a word with my niece. She needs to wake up. But all jokes aside, yesterday's performance is just a performance we've seen far, far, far too many times. I think we've seen it far too many. I think that red card was harsh, but in my opinion, when you get a red card, when things don't go your way, just keep your head. Just keep your head. When things don't go your way, there's one thing that you can control in a game, and that's how you play. There's factors in football you cannot control. You can't control the referee. You can't control the weather. You can't control how the opponent's going to play. You can't control the crowd. The only thing you really have responsibility over and control over is how you play. For Rashford to get sent off, which again, we can argue if it's a red card or not. I think the standard of VAR in football in general is poor, whether it's Premier League, Champions, whatever. I feel like things get given in Champions League that wouldn't be given in Premier League and vice versa. It is what it is, yeah? But for Rashford to get sent off, and the first thing is mind's gone. Mind gone. Concentration gone. Capitulation starts. It's just, to me, it's not acceptable. And that's been the theme, I think, for our entire season. You know, we'll be playing, you know, we score within a few minutes, bam, we concede. It's because the mindset is not there. We have to fight for till the last minute against Fulham to just get a goal, to get one goal. I don't know, man. Let me see what you lot are saying in the chat. Of course, big up to everyone. Adam says Varane gone from Rolls Royce to faulty Fiat. I don't know if you guys saw. There's 2 red flags I saw from Varane yesterday. Number one, the first red flag I saw is when he was coming on, looked like obviously it was a rushed process, injury happened, he had to come on quickly. He didn't talk to Ten Hag, he didn't talk to the assistant manager, Mitchell van der whatever. He didn't speak to him. He got instructions from, I think, the technical coach. Ten Hag didn't even look back to be like, yeah, come on, like tap on the shoulder, whatever. I think that relationship is far gone. I think that relationship is far, far gone. Number one. Number two, people are saying that he was playing bad on purpose. I don't think he's playing bad. I just think he's rusty. I think, especially in possession, he's always looked like an awkward player when he has the ball in possession. And there was one moment, I think it was leading up to a goal, where he gave the ball away after a normal pass to him, unpressured. He takes a weird first touch and then tries to, I think he tries to clear it out, weird clearance, and it lands to the opponent. I genuinely don't think he is in it anymore. And I don't know if it's because of things happening behind closed doors, but one thing that yesterday confirmed to me is that him and the manager got beef. Him and the manager have beef about something, because like I said, there's no way in God's beautiful green earth that has been created that Raphael Varane is benched and Johnny Evans starts ahead of him. I don't think that can possibly happen. Adam says he looked pissed. Maybe something's going on. Joe Blackman says Varane doesn't want to be here anymore. Aminor, big up to Aminor for the super chat. Appreciate the contribution always. Says, do you think there's beef between Varane and Ten Hag? Exactly what we're talking about. I think there is. I think leading up to, I think it was Sheffield United game, and also the City game. I remember there was reports saying that he was out ill, and then it came out that he was actually not out ill. He was dropped. And then obviously he was left out of the starting team for Man City, left out of the squad for Champions League. I don't think there's good terms there. I don't think between the two of them, and maybe even including his coaching staff, I think there's a lot of players that might maybe. I don't want to speculate. That's the thing. I don't like to speculate. I don't want to start rumors or whatever. But I kind of look at the way a lot of the players talk to the manager, or the lack of, or even the interactions on the touchline. It just doesn't seem as passionate as it used to, as it was last season. And again, we could sit here and speculate all of that, but I said Casemiro's out in the summer. I said he will leave. Varane might be first gone. Varane might be gone in January. I could see Varane just, you know what, cash in. 29 years old, no international football. You've won everything that needs to be won. You've won World Cup. You've won Champions League. You've won everything. You ain't going to win a Premier League probably, but just go cash in, go make your money, go Saudi. We could get him off the books. I think he will be more likely to leave. Obviously, Casemiro, I think, will leave. It's just a matter of time. But I think Varane could leave a lot earlier, unless United don't want to let him go because they don't really have enough players in that position. Yeah, see Adam saying similar thing. Varane getting ready for a life in Saudi. Suleiman says, I'm done with this team. You know what, guys? Every game, I feel like I can't reach a lower point than the previous game. And then, bam, United say to me, you know what? We got something in store for you, sis. We got something in store for you. And that's another crap, shoddy performance. I just don't get, like, just the momentum and the hype of Champions League. How can you come into it and just be okay with that kind of game, with that kind of performance? How can you be okay with it? Dallo says, not Dallo says, sorry, Koala says, anyone blaming Dallo, you try playing 90 minutes since the start of the season. He's the only player who's played most minutes. He attacks, defends, and inverts. Bruno's on a free roll. I don't rate Dallo. You lot know my stance on Dallo, by the way. You lot know my stance on Dallo. I don't think there's no serious football club would send a player out on loan because he's not performing. He has a decent loan spell. Let him come back and bam, shift him into the starting team. And then give him a new contract. Give him a new contract. That's, for me, that is despicable. That I don't think he earned. People could say he earned the contract last season. I don't think he has. I'm not even for, I'm only for Wan-Bissaka getting a new contract if we sign a fullback and Wan-Bissaka is the other option. But for me, the reason why I don't know about how we're going to sign another right back is because we've got Wan-Bissaka and Dallo. How are they going to go spend money on another fullback? To me, that confuses me. Diogo Dallo, for me, had a few moments of lapse. Obviously, one of them led to a goal where he just kind of fell asleep. But for me, it's like, it shouldn't even get to the ball getting into the box in the first place. People should be dealing with it, I think. I think people should be dealing with it. I think the intensity of games, these players just crumble. The moment of a big game. And you know what, guys? Every game from here on out is a must-win game. We have to win every game. Like, I'm going into every game saying this is a must-win. And then we lose. And then I'm like, well, never mind. Okay, the next game's must-win. We've lost 9. Let me give you lot some stats, yeah? Let me give you lot some stats that I saw earlier today. If you follow me on Twitter, you would have seen it. You can follow me on Twitter at MinaFootball. But this is some stats about our season so far. We've lost 9 out of 17 games. So that's more than 50%. We've lost more than 50% of the games. In the Champions League, we've lost 3 out of 4. We've conceded 11 goals in 3 games. And we've scored 9. So in the grand scheme of things, we're scoring 3 goals twice in the Champions League and we ain't winning. That is what it's saying, essentially. In the Premier League, we've scored 12 goals and we've conceded 16 goals. And then obviously in all competitions, 30 goals conceded and we've scored 22 goals. Guys, 30 goals. 30 goals. We are only in November. If we continue at this rate, by what? February, we've conceded 60. So then by May, we've conceded 90. If we continue at this rate that we're conceding goals, how is it acceptable that we have conceded 30 goals in all competitions and we are only in the beginning of November? How is it acceptable that we've lost 50% of our games in all competitions? How is that acceptable? How is it acceptable that we've won as many as we've lost in the Premier League at Old Trafford? At Old Trafford, we've won as many as... I just don't get at what point do we start thinking, okay, questions really need to be asked, but answers are needed as well in terms of the players, in terms of the manager. For example, yesterday's game, Rashford gets sent off. Ten Hag switches to a 4-1-1, whatever. We are chasing a goal. It's 3-3 at this point, yeah? It's 3-3. We are chasing a goal. I think it's 3-2. And then we concede, so it's 3-3. So the manager's already decided he's taking off Rasmus Højlund, right? When we concede a goal and you see that it's 3-3, why do you continue to go with that substitution and say, okay, well, I was going to take off Højlund before anyways and bring on Mount. So now that we've conceded, let me still do it. Why are you bringing on Mount as a false 9? Why are you bringing on Mount as a false 9? When the only other striker option, obviously, we got on the bench is Martial. But even that is better than nothing. That is better than nothing. Mount came on, and I swear, in his first moment of trying to press or whatever, he got flung. This guy ain't got no strength. He's got no strength. So these Copenhagen defenders were just literally pushing him off the ball. And that's the questions that I have about Ten Hag. That's the questions that I have, because I understand that you were planning to make that change. before we ended up, conceding the equalizer. But when we conceded that equalizer, why did, your decision not change? Why did your decision not change? That's what I don't understand. Koala says, I want Diego some. Ugh. Bro, I can't speak. Koala says, I want Diego Simeone. Sadly, they just announced he signed an extension to 2027 with Atletico. Big up Wildcat Productions, of course, says, I wonder, Mina, did we get rid of the wrong players? That's a good question, because we were talking about it yesterday before the game. We were talking about, all the players that we've let go of so far, all the ones that, people are naming players that they still feel need to leave the club. And I just don't know, like, when does it get better? When does things get better? And I understand that saying, sorry, there's that saying, it has to get worse before it gets better. And like all them kind of sayings, like you have to weather the storm. Even, if you're Muslim, verily after hardship comes ease. Bro, when is the ease coming? Because this has been difficult. This has been difficult to watch. And it's not just been under Ten Hag, by the way. That 6-month period under Ralph Rangnick, difficult. Under Oli, difficult. Mourinho, difficult. And a lot of these players are actually some of these players are new. Some of these players are new. Adam says, when the Glazers leave, they ain't going. There's reports that Sir Jim Ratcliffe is expected to come in essentially on Monday. Start running the show from Monday. I'm seeing links that we might sign Mehdi Taremi in January. Is that, no offense, guys, but I've been saying this for the last 2 years that we should sign him. Why are we signing him 2 years later? And apparently we ain't got no money, so it's probably going to be a loan deal. And they're offering him 4.5 million wages. There's just a whole, I think, load of nonsense going on. You look at that yesterday's game specifically, because like I said, there's things that go against you in the game. For me, our biggest problem, it seems like, is mentality. People crumble. People just just lose it. They just lose it. That's the first point. And the second point is also, what is this? Is it down to the manager? Is it down to the players? Because a lot of the time, I always see people saying, it's not Ten Hag that's playing, or it's not Ten Hag that gave away a handball, it's not Ten Hag that got sent off, all of that kind of stuff. But what is the relationship between the players and the manager for them to kind of play like this? We're up 2-0, to be up 2-0 for most of the half, and then bam, going in at halftime 2-2. And this is a question that I'm just wondering, if the players love you and the players really believe in your vision, and you as a manager, you as a person, they will come out at halftime fighting. I don't even think yesterday's game was a fight. I don't think it was yesterday. I saw someone say, I can't remember who it was. Someone on UV was saying that they fought. I don't think they fought. I don't think it was a fight. It's not a fight when you let someone come back from 2-0 down to win 4-3. That's not a fight. If anything, Copenhagen fought. If anything, it was Copenhagen that were fighting throughout the game to kind of get back into it. I don't think they want to play for this team. Sometimes I don't feel like they do. And I feel bad for Rasmus Højlund. It seems like anytime if he scores, we lose. One of the top scorers in the Champions League right now. He's one of the top scorers in the Champions League. Every game that he's scored in Champions League, we've lost. Every game he's scored, we've lost. So obviously, I would like for him to kick off his Premier League scoring. Another player I feel bad for, guys, and you know what? You lot might not agree with me, is Mason Mount. I don't know why did Ten Hag spend the entire beginning of the transfer window chasing Mason Mount if you are going to bench him every single game? If he doesn't fit into your plan, doesn't fit into your idea, doesn't fit into your structure, why would you make us go and buy him for 60 million when he's got 1 year left? 1 year left on his contract. You make him come to Manchester United. Obviously, I think he was linked to Liverpool. He was linked to quite a few teams in the summer. But we spent, if you don't remember, we spent a good 3-4 weeks after him negotiating with Chelsea. Eventually, they came to deals, gave him a nice little contract as well. But if he's not part of the plan and he's not in your idea, and I understand, yeah, I understand that in in football, you know, you win some, you lose some. Obviously, we're losing a lot more than we're winning, but why would we spend 60 million and 4 weeks chasing Mason Mount if you are going to bench him against City? You're going to bench him in the Champions League. You're going to bench him against Sheffield. You're going to bench him against everyone. He doesn't fit into your plan, clearly. Clearly, he does not fit into your plan because the players that he wants to play, the Hoylands, the Ananas, because let's be real, if he wanted to drop Anana, he would have dropped him when Anana was conceding them goals. He would have dropped him. Anana looks a lot more confident now, by the way. He looks a lot more confident, but he's still leaking goals. But if he really wanted to drop Anana, he would have. That's why I'm starting to really think Mason Mount wasn't a Ten Hag signing. I'm really starting to think that. I'm really starting to think he was a club signing. The club wanted him. They wanted a midfielder. Ten Hag wanted a midfielder. We knew we weren't going to get Frankie de Jong. The club thought, let's get a player that A, has Premier League experience, and B, will fit into the category of homegrown players, because that's another reason why Johnny Evans is here. I'm not saying that's the only reason, but Johnny Evans is one of the homegrown talents, so he makes up a number for you in Champions League, in the Premier League, when you have to have a certain number of homegrown talents. So I'm starting to think, with Mason Mount, I'm starting to think, why did we sign him? Wildcat Productions mentions a valid point. The thing for me is, why did we chase a few of these guys? I don't get why we chase players, bring them to United, just for them to rot on the bench or just rot away with poor performances. And this is why I'm going to reiterate it. I think Mason Mount was a club signing. I don't think he was a Ten Hag signing. To me, we knew that Bruno and Mount cannot operate in the same space, in the same starting formation if they're both playing through the middle. It was evident. Bruno's always going to start in his position. That's his position. It's a given. Mason Mount, 60 million. I don't even know how much he's on. He's on like 180 or something, or 200. Robbery. Absolute robbery. And then we'll struggle to offload him. Same way we're going to struggle to offload Jadon Sancho. Another way. Big up to Lil Yo-Yo. Says, nah, Mina losing to KG is unacceptable. Also, the game yesterday was jarring. I don't know what I'm more annoyed about. I don't know if I'm more annoyed about the fact that I lost to KG, or if I'm annoyed about yesterday's game. I think, you know what? I'm more annoyed about the game, 100%. But you lot don't know yet. Losing to KG, 1-0. It's not even like he smoked me. And if you watched it, then you know. It's not like he smoked me. I think it was an equal game. He played with Bayern Munich. I played with Real Madrid. Bayern Munich is the best team in the game, probably, as well as Man City. I chose not to play with City. I picked Real Madrid instead. However, I don't think I can show my face in the UV studios for a minute. I'm not joking, guys. This is why you have to support my channel. Get the memberships in. Get the super chats in. Because I got to hibernate for the next 3 months. I can't leave my house. I can't leave my house. I can't even step out and go anywhere near a 5-mile radius of KG and the studios, because I'm dreading going to the studio on Saturday, because I know he's going to be there as well. And you know what I'm going to do? I might just wear a balaclava to the studio and not talk to anyone. Anyways, it is what it is, man. Excuse my language, shit happens. And that's in reference to the game as well. And as I mentioned, you guys can become a member on this channel. I got a lot of content coming, guys. I'm going to show you lot a lot of behind the scene footage of when I go interview players, when I do content stuff, all of that kind of stuff, when I go to gaming events, when I go to football events, all of that kind of stuff. Obviously, you get your badges, your emojis. We've got new emojis coming soon. It's currently in the works. I'm not making them, so don't worry about that. But we got new emojis coming through. And obviously, if you play PlayStation, you can play with me. NBA 2K. Call of Duty is out tomorrow. Big up to Activision for sending me a code so I can play that. So, if you don't want to run games of multiplayer, we can do that on and off stream. Of course, 2-tier levels. It's the minionships, man. It's the minionships here, live and direct. It's the pinned comment in the chat. Wild Production says you need to do a rematch with KG. I will be doing a rematch. I will be doing a rematch on my channel, and we're doing best out of 3. So we're doing best out of 3 on my channel, and it will be sometime next week, guys. Also, not United related, but international break. There's so much content to be done. African Cup of Nations qualifiers is taking place, right? If some of you lot don't know, I'm from East Africa. I'm from a country in East Africa, the Horn of Africa to be specific. And that said country is playing against Algeria next Thursday. I'm going to do a watch along on my channel because Algeria is rated, I think, in the continent, they're top 3. Or top 4. They're in the top 5. Algeria's in the top 5 alongside, Morocco, Nigeria, Ghana, etc. I will do a watch along here on my channel because my said country does not have one player that plays professional football. It's all semi-professional football players, whereas Algeria got the likes of Riyad Mahrez, Ismail Benasser. They got bare ballers. So I'm going to do a watch along for that, obviously during the international break, and a lot of gaming content. Koala says Mina lost to KG. OMG. Listen, it happens. Moment of lapse. It happens. I'm on to the next one. You know what? He's so shit. Let me play you lot the voice note that he sent me within, like, I think it was like 5 minutes after his stream end.
Stress.
Wait, hold on. Let me play it from the beginning.
Oi, oi. In your face. Smoke who? Smoke what? Smoke when? Hold that. Yeah? Hold that, forever. Listen, I told you, I'm getting better. I won't be crap forever. I don't even know if you're going to really pay for those 10 memberships. That's a lot of pressure and stress.
I might hold on to some of that audio just so that I can use it if I ever get a soundboard. KG is the worst person to lose to. But like I said, man, we move. It is what it is. If you don't want me to start clipping all my content, or the way that I actually play on FIFA, I'll do that just to prove a point. But big up to everyone, of course. Back to yesterday's game. Marcus Rashford, for me, even before he got sent off, before he gets sent off, I think bar the first goal, which to me was a very well worked goal. Great ball from Bruno. At first, I'm not gonna lie, I thought, why on earth is he booting it in the air, switching it across the pitch like that? Rashford, great touch. Wan-Bissaka with the overlap. Wan-Bissaka with a great pass actually in to McTominay for them to find Højlund. But the way Rashford has been playing, even before he got sent off, to me, he looked like he was not there. And it's quite, I think quite a few people have been playing like that in terms of the front line. I was very frustrated watching Garnacho. I was very, very frustrated watching Garnacho. And I think the most difficult thing for me is that Garnacho's growing. He's young. So I have a lot more patience with him. But for example, Højlund's second goal, that came as a result of a Garnacho miss. Do you not think that Garnacho could have actually passed it to Højlund rather than going for the shot and then basically Højlund getting the rebound? Because I think Garnacho could have got an assist. Obviously, either way it was a goal. We scored either way. But it's just those moments of decision making that really make me look at him a bit like, oh, he still has a bit to develop. I love how rival fans were eating up the picture of him shushing the fans. I think it's when Bruno scored the penalty and he was shushing the fans, and then people posting it after the game to troll him. I don't know. Rival fans, they do what they do. From yesterday's game, I think the biggest takeaway, Liverpool are losing 2-0. When I just went live, they were losing 1-0. It looks like Liverpool's going to lose. You get it? Because they're playing to lose. Oh man, that's I give myself that one. That was a good one. Garnacho is a selfish player, and we need that. We need to have selfish players because we can get the best out of them. I don't mind selfish, but when you're playing, the thing is, I'm in two ways about yesterday's starting team, especially the front line, because Rashford, I think on the left that's where he's best, but playing him out of position for Garnacho, I think is telling. I think it's telling that the manager has giving up on kind of right-sided options. Bear in mind, Anthony did Anthony even come on yesterday? He was on the bench. He was on the bench. Did Anthony even come on? Maybe the manager's starting to lose patience with him. Maybe the manager's starting to lose patience with him. But one thing is clear. The manager's lost patience with options on the right-hand side. He knows Anthony ain't cutting it there, even though he's talking the talk in the media and, you know, backing his boy. He knows Bruno Fernandes don't work there. Pellistri had 1 or 2 opportunities and that was it. Mason Mount, for me, should have started on the right. And I would have taken Rashford on the left. For that reason. But the manager's now resulted to playing Rashford out of position to accommodate Garnacho. You know, I think the one good thing he did yesterday was bring on Amrabat once we kind of took that red card at halftime. I mean, I think he should have brought him on earlier, as soon as the red card happened. But again, each to their own. I know a lot of people that actually don't even rate Amrabat. I know a lot of people questioning Amrabat. I don't think he was bad yesterday. I think he did what he had to do. He came on, he steadied the ship. He lost, I think, 1 ground duel. Bruno loses way more, but he lost 1 ground duel. I think he had like 87% pass completion. I think he steadied the ship, a steady Eddie, you know, in front of that back line, which to me was very scary. When Varane came in, I was scared. I was actually scared. And that's funny because usually Varane, this is the Rolls Royce we're talking about. That's the Rolls Royce. People saying, you know, the Wraith, the Phantom. That's allegedly what Raphael Varane is. And when he came on, I was actually kind of nervous. Harry Maguire, you know, he had that handball. He even had it in the first minute. Bro, he was lucky the ref never even paid attention to that or never brought it. VAR and never had a look at it. Because at first it looked like he handballed it in the first minute as well. Big up MUFC 14 says, we have clueless owners, mediocre coaching staff, and down tool squad. It's been like that for the past 10 years. So just relax and get used to it. You would have thought by now that we would have got used to it. Because it seems like with every manager, there's always one good season or one better season than previous ones. And that's what gives you the false hope. Do you guys remember Ole Gunnar Solskjaer when he came in, took over? December, we beat, I think it was Cardiff. We had a run of games from December until March, April, until that Barcelona game. We had that night in Paris. You know, I think, we had that night in Paris when we knocked PSG out. That was a nice period. It made you think, okay, things are going to get better. Then he got given a permanent contract and everything went downhill. Jose Mourinho, we finished second with him. Thought things were going to get better. They didn't. Eric Ten Hag comes in. Wow. Blows us all away in his first season. Wins the Carabao Cup. You know, sets new records for what a manager has achieved in a certain number of games at Manchester United. Downhill second season. It's literally been like that the last 10 years. Every single manager that we have a good little period that makes us think, okay, we're back. And then bam, back to square one. At this point, yeah, guys, I'm not joking. Do we just, who's going to go beg Pogba to dig up them hyenas that he actually buried in Old Trafford? Because I'm actually starting to believe that it's been buried. I'm really, really starting to believe that there was a little bit of truth to whatever his brother has said. That there is hyena somewhere. Whether it's Old Trafford, whether it's Carrington, whether it's somewhere within the car park of Old Trafford, there's hyenas that's been buried there, and someone needs to dig it up, and they need to apologize to Pogba, because it's just been a shit show after a shit show. Excuse my language, but it's been an absolute shit show. Make sure you guys hit the like button. You guys know what it is. We have to accept that we are Laurie Harvey FC, changing managers. Koala saying that we got a new man every year or every other year, similar to Laurie Harvey. We had a lot of games won and tied, but then things went downhill. You know what? I wouldn't be mad about, like, I feel like yesterday's game, the reason why I'm annoyed about it is because we were up 2-0. You're up 2-0 in the Champions League game away from home. Just see it out. any means necessary, just see it out. That's what I'm annoyed about, number one. Number two, we really invited them into the game. You know, I feel like the second that Rashford got sent off, we made them, there was like a shift in momentum, or there was a shift in the vibe in the stadium, where suddenly they felt like they had the upper hand, because we gave the impression that we can't deal with being one man down. I felt like we gave that impression. So immediately momentum was on their side. It was on the side of Copenhagen. You know, the crowd is another thing. Unlucky with the Johnny Evans injury. You know how crazy it is that I'm in a point where I'm saying unlucky that Johnny Evans got injured. Johnny Evans, I'm saying unlucky he got injured. Honestly, it says so much about the state of this team, the state of not just the team, but I think even the management, the manager's decision making. I think that lineup, Eriksen, for me, should never have started in that midfield. If you wanted to solidify the base, you should have went with someone whose role that is in that midfield, in my opinion. Anyway, but the manager, can we say the manager knows best because he's the manager? I don't know about that. But one thing I would say is that you got Reguilon on the bench. If you see that Dalot has been struggling the last couple of games, and we've conceded a few goals because of Dalot's mistakes, just bring on Reguilon. Just bring on Reguilon. He's on the bench for a reason. He's on the bench for a reason. I'm still annoyed. Guys, and I don't think I'll get past it that we brought on Mason Mount when it was 3-3 and played him as a false nine. Nobody is saying any, and I'm so shocked that no one is actually mentioning that. I'm actually a little bit shocked that nobody is even mentioning that. It's very frustrating, very annoying, and also I feel bad for people like Højlund. I feel bad. Also, can I just say that first goal was actually disgraceful from the referee and VAR, because I guarantee you, if Manchester United had scored something like that, if Man United was the ones that scored that goal, VAR would have looked at it for obstruction of an offside player. VAR would have looked at it for obstruction of an offside player. So that's why I feel like, again, the standards of refereeing is poor. But you know, I don't know how Saudis wanted to come and poach refs from. Sorry guys, I was just trying to get my water bottle. I don't know how Saudis were trying to come and poach referees from this side of the world, because I don't think that they should be poached. I think if anything, they should be sacked. For me, all in all, I think it's just disgraceful. I think that, like I said, that first goal, it was offside. The guy was shielding Onana was offside. Exactly. That's exactly my point. And I feel like if it was United that had scored that goal, VAR would have looked at it. VAR would have looked at it. It's as simple as that. And that's why I feel like, you know, and you know, I don't know if any of you guys were watching. I don't know if any of you guys were watching on TNT if you're in the UK. Bro, Robbie Savage is the most annoying commentator ever. And boy, has he changed his tune. He did not talk about United the way that he did yesterday when his son was playing at United. I had to at one point just mute the TV and I was just listening to United View, because he was getting on my nerves. He was absolutely irritating. And maybe this is how rival fans feel when, you know, maybe like Gary Neville commentates on Manchester United games. But he was absolutely horrible to listen to. But I just feel like yesterday, people are saying it's just things didn't work out in our favor. You know, the penalty is not in your favor. Okay, cool. But why is Harry Maguire's hands in the air like that? It wasn't the first time in the game that it happened as well. It wasn't the first time that it happened in the game as well. So your experience, you should be experienced enough to know that that is not acceptable. You got off the hook the first time, because I don't feel like the ref saw it. VAR didn't pick up on it. But it wasn't even in the air. It wasn't even in the air, but it was still high enough for, you know, a threat to happen. I think it was still high enough for a threat to happen. And I feel like in that particular moment, or in that particular situation, you should know better. You should, if you know what they say, if you knew better, you'd do better. I believe we're trying to repeat the first season when we had a new manager, then we fell because teams know how to shut us down. This is our reality. That's hitting us. I don't even know. I couldn't even tell you guys. I'm at a point now Big up to Olumba in the chat says big up. I'm at a point right now, guys, where I just don't know what's going to happen. I don't know how things are going to change. I don't know how things are going to get better. I don't know when things are going to get better. I remember maybe like September after the Arsenal loss, I was very much like, you know what? Trust in the manager, trust in the process. And this is not me saying I'm Ten Hag out anyway, but I'm just not seeing this vision for this process. I'm not seeing it because if we've spent 400 million and you've brought in over 10 players, some of them who you've paid big bucks for, who you fought to bring, why am I not seeing any sort of change? And bear in mind, the one thing that I'm kind of like, I guess I would say lenient with is the fact that, Ten Hag hasn't had the opportunity to play the starting 11 of, the combination of players that he's brought over the last 2 summers, plus, the ones that he wants to integrate into the first team. I think we only saw it once, and we didn't even see it in pre-season. A pre-season where they made them go to Europe, they made them go Norway, they named 2 places in the UK, a tour across America in how many different states, playing how many different games. I think it was like 8 games in total in America, which I don't think is necessary. There was a article I read about the correlation of American football pitches and ACL injuries, and a lot of players who were tearing their ACL in the first like couple weeks of the season, not just in England by the way, but in Europe, were all teams who had pre-seasons in America. So it was an interesting article, and for me, is like America is first and foremost, I'll say, I think fans around the world deserve the opportunity to see their team. Not everyone will get the privilege of being able to go to Old Trafford. So I understand how important for commercial reasons that pre-seasons are. I understand that. I've seen people in the chat before saying, that they paid $300, $400 to watch Manchester United versus Borussia Dortmund in America, etc. And I respect that. But the pre-season, I think the quality of pre-season was not pre-season for the first team. It was not it wasn't good enough quality, I think, for a pre-season where essentially you're trying to get in shape. And the manager has high demands when it comes to fitness, when it comes to stamina, when it comes to fatigue. Manager seems to have high demands, but it seemed like the level of fitness was not that high in pre-season. Koala says, Eric Ten Hag was sent here to end Manchester United's era. This is giving Lex Luthor vibes. He's using kryptonite against Superman, i.e. Manchester United. Koala says, Wildcat, says, we just need to stop trying to act like we're last year's team. We have to play differently this season. I think that's one thing as well that I'll give you like an example. Big Ange, aka the Spurs manager, yeah. The other day, it was Chelsea versus Spurs. He had 2 men sent off. Continued to play how he always plays, his high line. Continued that. And you know what? People were criticizing him less because he did not change his tactics because of, a very rare situation in the game. And the reason why I'm mentioning this is that I feel like with Ten Hag, he so easily abandons his philosophy, his style of football, whether it's because the players can't do it, whether it's because he can't execute it, whether it's because, he can't communicate that across, to the players. I don't know what the reason is, but he so easily abandons his style, this alleged style of football, this Ten Hag style of football, that really and truly, have we seen it even all this season? I can't tell you guys one good game that I've watched of our first team. And the reason why I'm saying of our first team is because that Palace game was a rotated team on both our end and their end. It was a Premier League. I can't name you one good performance we've had in the Premier League. Champions League, I couldn't tell you one good performance. I don't think the Bayern Munich game was good. The Galatasaray one was definitely not. Neither Copenhagen games impressed me at all, even though one of them we won. I can't tell you one game this season that I've walked away from and thought, I'm happy with the performance, I'm happy with the result. Yesterday's game, I think the first 20 minutes was great, but how many times can we say, oh, I thought the first 20 minutes was great? How many times this season are we going to say that? Because I'm tired of that. I'm tired of being 20 minutes FC, where we play good for 20 minutes and that's it. And after that, clubs know, opponents know, teams know what to expect after 20 minutes. That's when, the current Manchester United will come out to play, and we become sloppy with our passing. There's gaps in the midfield. There's gaps in the defense. You know, we misplace passes. For me, that's another frustrating thing, is how common it is for players to misplace passes. Like, I saw Højlund literally pass the ball to the touchline yesterday, to the sideline, sorry. Wan-Bissaka was nowhere near there. No apologies, nothing. There's no accountability. And it's a very far-fetched team from what we were last season. Last season, I remember Casemiro. We won a game, and I think Bruno was sloppy with the last possession. We were winning anyways, but Bruno was sloppy with the last possession. And I remember at full time, I can't remember what game it was. If you don't remember what game it was, please say it in the chat. But I remember Casemiro after that having a go at Bruno, and Bruno's laughing at him, saying, "Bro, like, we just won the game. Like, why are you telling me off?" And and everybody was like, "Yeah, Casemiro, mentality monster." Where the hell has that gone? Where the hell has that gone? Every single game. I'm seeing Rashford coming out yesterday making a statement about his red card last night. I think it was this morning, actually. You're better off just keeping quiet. I'd much rather you just keep quiet and let your performance do the talking on the pitch. You know you've struggled. You know the fan base has certain sections of the fan base already have it out for you. You then get sent off in a Champions League game, which I don't think is his fault. But, it's the level of VAR. It is what it is. Bun your statement. Sorry if you don't speak UK slang. Bun means like forget it, innit? Forget your statement that you're putting out online. Let your talking be done on the pitch. I don't think, when we become Statements FC after every game, damn, Nunes just scored and then now apparently it's 3-1. Looks like I'm missing a good game, but to be honest, I'm not watching Europa League football this year, and let this be a segue into what I expect from Manchester United. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care what anyone says. If United crash out of Champions League, and we're going to have to win 2 games, yeah, and just hope Galatasaray and Copenhagen be dropping points, let's just finish 4th. Let's just finish 4th. I am not spending Thursday nights watching Europa League football. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it. And you know what's so funny? This is karma for me, because I actually tweeted at the beginning of the season, like after the Champions League draw, I must have found a tweet where I basically said, "Oh, isn't it nice to finally have plans on Thursday because your team's not playing?" Are you having a laugh? Now we're about to drop out of Champions League. I'd rather we just completely drop out of Champions League. We have 1 game a week, yeah, like other clubs in the Premier League, Spurs, Chelsea, etc. We have 1 game a week and the occasional FA Cup game when we get to FA Cup, when we get to the FA Cup period, which is normally around January. Yeah, I would rather that than to be in a flipping Europa League competition where our team is already minimal in terms of, we've got injuries, etc. We've got players falling out with the manager, all of that stuff. Yeah, let's just have our 1 game a week, Saturday, Sunday, whatever. I will take that. I'm happy with that. I'm okay watching this team once a week. Please don't make me watch them twice a week. Please don't make me watch them twice a week. I can't watch them midweek as well. I can't do it, because if it's the same as what we're seeing right now, you're better off just locking me up in prison where I don't have access to a television. I have divided allegiances. I'm a reckless delegate and a minion. I'm happy for KG and sad for Mina. The good thing is, guys, is that you can be a reckless delegate. You can be a UV member. You can be a minion. You can be, I can't remember what Owen's, I think it's the 365 roster membership. You can be all of that. There's no allegiances. Well, not on my side anyway. I don't know how KG's feeling. But I'm very much like, this is like the European Union, where any member of a nation can join as long as it's part of the European Union. And the European Union in question is United View. That's the equivalent of the EU. And the rest of us are just member states. You can be a member of any nation as long as it's part of UV. It's as simple as that. But me and KG, we're going to have some serious words on Saturday. We're going to have some serious words. Big up to Dan says, how's the Conti Cup going? Let me actually check the results because my television has just turned off. The game has just actually kicked off about 5 minutes ago. It's a heavily rotated women's team. By the way, guys, Conti Cup is in reference to the women's team. That's a competition that they're playing in. It's a heavily rotated team today. Mary Earps is on the bench and it's 0-0. It's only 5 minutes into the game. I think kickoff happened a bit late. It was meant to happen at 7, but they kicked off a bit later. MUFC says 4 for me. I'm happy with that. I'm good with that. I'm Gucci with that. I'd prefer that because I don't think this team have it in them to continue to compete. You know, last season you saw my new favorite word, guys, capitulation. You saw the capitulation. Is that even a word? It doesn't sound like it. Capitulation. I think it is a word. Yeah, I think it is a word. You saw the capitulation last season when, you know, the intensity of the games started increasing. I think it got to around March and, you know, everything just went downhill. After we beat Barcelona and I think it was the 7-0, the 7-0 Liverpool game, everything just kind of went downhill from there on out. So I hope that in that case, one game a week. Give me one game a week. I'll watch United on Saturday, 12:30 kickoff, 3 p.m. kickoff, whatever. And then I'll wait again another week to watch them. I will wait another week to watch them. And you know what? I'm good with that. I'm okay with that. I'm not yearning to watch them 3 times a week. Especially, guys, daylight savings now. It gets dark early here. I'm not trying to be down and sad because it's dark at 4 p.m. and then I'm sad because my team has just lost 5 games in a row and I've had to watch them lose twice in 1 week. Do you know how bad it is to take 2 L's in a week? Do you know how bad it is? You know how much that sucks? If we lose to Luton on Saturday, bro, I don't think I can handle it. I have people that I know who are United fans who have fully said to me, I've stopped watching United this season. I have stopped watching it. I'm not watching them until the end of the season. I know people who had memberships who were going to games said, I ain't going to any more games. Someone was trying to sell me a ticket that they had because they were like, I have no intention to go to this game anymore. Downright capitulation. As mentioned, guys, like I said earlier, if you want to join the membership, you can link in the chat. It's the pinned comment in the chat, and you can also find the link in the description. Appreciate the support all the time. You lot know what it is. If you want to be a minion, you want to be part of the minionships, get your badges, your emojis, a lot of exclusive content as well. I don't know when I'm going to do my first member only live stream. I think I'm going to do it at the end of the month. I'll do it at the end of the month. I'll let, you know, the members kind of slowly build up, of course. So if you want to join, you can. There's a 2-tier system for whoever wants to become a minion. I can't promise you that it will be amazing. Actually, I can promise you that. Capitulation, new vocabulary. I don't want to brag. I've been reading a thesaurus. I don't want to brag. Big up to Dipesh in the chat. Says Eric Ten Hag needs time to train these players. But then again, I don't think they are all that. So not sure how much he can improve them. I don't know how, you know, some of these players. I'm in 2 ways about it because, you know, some of these players have been here for a long time. There's players that I feel like are at the club that should have been moved on a long time ago. They should have been moved on a long time ago. People like, again, I hope no one gets offended, but people like Lindelof, Diogo Dalot, Anthony Martial, who else? Scott McTominay, Harry Maguire. These are players that, if they had been moved on, we might have had better options in those positions. Because really and truly, you sell players, you're going to replace them. But instead, what United have done is reward players with new contracts. I will never get over Diogo Dalot getting a new contract this year, at the end of last season, getting a new contract until 2027 or 2028. Do you know how far away that is? That's like a good, 4 or 5 years away. That's a long time. Now you're telling me if they decide to sell him, I don't know, next summer, now you got to go find a way to offload his wages because you guys decided to give him a 4-year extension contract. It's very questionable. I feel like, excuse me, Show mentioned it yesterday on the stream before the game. He mentioned I think it was about 14 players that he said, you know, and he named them all. that shouldn't be in the team. And I said to him he was being harsh, but I'm not gonna lie. After watching yesterday's game, I'm thinking, you know what? 14 is even too nice. Just cut the whole 23-man squad, start again. Honestly, cut all of them and just start again. It's honestly, at this point, I say to everyone, I say to United fans, you know, my friends, family, etc., just laugh. Because if you don't laugh, you'll cry. If you do not laugh, you cry. Big up to Dan says, even Fergie struggled for 4 years. That's true, but that was in a time where also I don't want to kind of like make excuses or anything, but also I wasn't even alive then, so I can't really say what the league was like now. But I feel like at this point, the level of patience is a lot more thinner, especially with Man United, bro. If this was Real Madrid, like I feel like Real Madrid fans, they would have got their manager out a long time ago. If Perez didn't sack him, if Ten Hag was the manager of Real Madrid and he lost 9 out of 17 games, conceded 30 goals at November. You know, you're in November and you've conceded in 3 months, you've conceded 30 goals. You're on route to concede, you know, by mathematics, 90 goals by the end of the season. Yeah. Perez, if he did not get Ten Hag out, the players would have got him out. And I feel like in this day and age, especially with Manchester United, I feel like, and similar actually to other teams, not just Manchester United, look at Potter. Look at Potter at Chelsea. He didn't last too long. Look at Frank Lampard, both as interim and permanent manager. He didn't last too long. I feel like in football, especially now, in this day and age of football, there isn't much patience. I saw somebody actually saying it. I can't remember who it was. I think it's someone I follow on Twitter, like an analyst or something, was saying that they think or they felt like Arteta had it lucky that his rebuild, i.e. finishing 8th, you know, however many seasons in a row, and the difficulty that he went through in terms of his rebuild process, he was lucky that it happened during a pandemic when fans weren't allowed in the stadiums. You know, press conferences were happening virtually, etc. No one was allowed in the stadium, etc., etc. And that maybe Ten Hag's situation is different because the fans are there. You know, the media are there holding you accountable game after game. Players are getting booed off. I saw Anthony getting booed off against Fulham. I've seen Harry Maguire getting booed. I've seen more players getting booed this season probably than I have in the last couple of years. And I think that's kind of true. I think, like I said, the patience in football right now is different. You need results and you need it now, especially when teams are investing 200 million a year into buying players. Then on top of that, paying wages, paying, you know, agent fees, all of that kind of stuff. People want results immediately. And I'm in two ways about it. I'm very much like, be patient. You know, this is a process. Rome wasn't built in a day, all of that kind of motivational stuff. And then I'm like, when does it get better? Because 9 in 17 games is something I can't overlook. 30 goals in November, I can't overlook. You know, our front line has got 1 goal in the Premier League. 1 goal between our wingers and our forwards. 1 goal. Our top goal scorer this season is Bruno Fernandes. He's got 5 goals. We've scored 22 goals, and most of it, I think about like 17 or 18 of it has come from our midfielders. I don't know, man. Questions got to be asked. It was not Murto madness. It was Murto capitulation. Ragnick said it, and he got sacked for it. Those players are assets for the Glazers, and you make it work with them. As a manager, any sign of capitulation, you are axed. I think you guys are getting. I think Wall is getting a bit carried away with the capitulation word. We might surpass our tally of conceding goals at 58 last season. I think we will. I don't think it's a matter of when. Because if we've conceded 30, guys. If my maths is correct, and you know, I'm not saying I'm the best at maths, but if we've conceded 30 at this point, it means February, March, we would have conceded 60 if we continue at that rate. The only thing that will work in our favor maybe is the fact that there's no Champions League football. So after December, we won't be leaking 3-4 goals per game, similar to how we have already in Champions League. We've conceded 4 goals twice, 3 goals once, and then 1 clean sheet. We've kept 1 clean sheet. Bear in mind, guys, in December, because Wildcat just mentioned that might be December. In December, in the Premier League alone, We're playing firstly Bayern Munich at home in the Champions League. But on top of that, we are also playing what? Newcastle. We're playing... Newcastle just put 3 past us in the Carabao Cup with their B team. Then we're playing Chelsea, who to me, like, Chelsea's a team that is worrying, but I'm more worried about the state of our affairs rather than their affairs. So that is that. And Liverpool. And obviously, like I said, Bayern Munich at home. We've got a run of games, you know. Thank God we're playing teams like Everton. And this, you know what? This might even come back to bite me. This might come back to bite me because I might be saying, thank God we're playing Everton, and then we lose to them. We lose to them at the end of the month. It is what it is, obviously. I don't even want to think about that Liverpool game. Honestly, I don't want to think. That midfield alone is worrying to me. That midfield alone is questionable to me. I don't even want to think about it. And you know what? That is a problem I will think about in due time when the game gets closer. Big up to everyone. You guys know what it is. Champions League, man. Can't dwell on it too much. Absolutely disappointing result yesterday. And no way I can see positives from that. Losing this many games in a row, I can't see positives from that. Conceding that many goals, I can't see a positive. I don't want to hear, we played good or we played better than the last game. I don't want to hear that because we played better and we still lost. So clearly there's nothing better. Nothing has improved if we're still losing in the Champions League. It is what it is. Questions will still be asked. So Jim Ratcliffe expected to come in starting from Monday. Don't know what that changes for us in the January transfer window. Jadon Sancho still axed from the team, not allowed anywhere near. Apparently he's been removed from the WhatsApp group chat. Don't know how true that is, but there's reports that he's been removed from the WhatsApp group chat. All of that happening whilst our right-hand side is yearning for a playmaker and someone to just produce. The crazy thing is, Mina, the women's team might have a better goal difference than the men's this season. They had a better goal difference last season. The women's team had a better season than the men's season. The men's team. The only difference is that they crashed out early in Champions League in the qualifiers this year. And they're still like 5th, 6th, but it's still early in the season. So, and they are also another team that spent a lot in the summer. So expectations are quite high. And I think a lot of fans are starting to turn on the women's team manager as well. But again, each to their own. You guys know what it is. As always, big up to everyone. Thank you for stopping by. If you have, you guys know what the schedule is throughout the week. Of course, we got some gaming content coming in about 45 minutes, guys. 45 minutes. We got some gaming content. I'm going to be starting live gameplay Assassin's Creed Mirage here on my channel. Thank you very much to the Ubisoft team in the UK who actually gave me the game to review it. So I'm looking forward to that. If that's your kind of cup of tea, if that's your kind of game, come through and just vibe. Like I said, you guys can become members here on my channel. You get your badges, you get your emojis, all of that. The link is the pinned comment in the chat. And if in case you can't see, I was going to pin it now. I was going to say I'll pin it to the chat right now, but it's pinned. I can see that it's pinned. Of course, tomorrow we've got Friday Night Lights. You guys know every Friday, 7 p.m. we talk about the Luton game, of course, and what is our expectations. And I'll actually do it as a call-in show. So I'll leave the link in where you guys can come through, share your opinions, share your thoughts. As long as you keep it respectful, you guys know what it is. Strictly good vibes. And then what's happening Saturday? We'll have post-match content, of course, some EAFC content throughout the weekend. And then Sunday, we're doing another women's watch along, or like I like to call it, a vibe along. Thank you to everyone for supporting the channel thus far. Thanks to you guys, I'm able to do memberships, able to get super chats, able to monetize my channel and just increase the content. That's it. You lot know gaming, football, all of that stuff will be here. So if you lot want to stick around for some content in about 45 minutes, come through. It'll be a long stream. It'll be like an hour or two. Because I'm looking forward to playing the game. Big up to everyone. Big up Koala. Big up Adam. Big up Joe Blackman. You lot heard him. Make sure you hit the like button on your way out. And I'll be back. I'm gonna go have some dinner. I'm gonna go pray, get some water, fill up my water bottle, all of that stuff. And I'll be back in 45 minutes for some Assassin's Creed gameplay. Big up until 45 minutes, guys. I'll see you lot in a bit. Remember, football ain't the end of the world, man. I'm alive. I got clothes on. I got a roof over my head. I got food. I'm happy. I got family. I got loved ones. I got you guys. Okay. It's not the end all or be all. Until next time, guys. Peace.